Made a huge mistake on my last trip with the Cozy Traveler. I did not think to check the bearings. We got to our location, did a week of camping, and then on the way home, the bearings decided to freeze up. And as we were driving, smoke started billowing out this little fire, and had to pull over, had to do the repairs in a parking lot. This video hopefully will help you not get in the same situation I was in. Highly recommend checking your bearings before any long road trip. If you have a brand new camper, chances are you're not going to have to do this. However, if your camper is a couple years old, like this one, you may want to check your bearings. Check it so you can raise the tire off the ground, and you can kind of shake the wheel back and forth. If it's got a lot of play, chances are your bearings are bad. You can also spin it and kind of listen to it and just hear if it's got a grinding sound in there. Again, this side's not so bad. It was the other side that went, but at a minimum, you're going to want to probably at least put some grease in your hub once a year. Now to do that, you just want to pop off this little plastic cover. You take your grease gun, insert it on to the grease fitting, and squirt a couple shots of grease in there till you see it come out. Now, I'm actually going to replace this side because I replaced the other side, and I just want to do them both and know I won't have that issue for a while. So to start, I'll take the tire off. Alright, with the tire off, you can now get to this grease fitting cover. You want to work this grease fitting cover off. The grease fitting cover off, some of these will have a cotter pin. This one has a kind of a washer, and with that washer I got to bend the tabs up and I can pull it off. So there, this one has like a funky washer. Now this nut is a little loose. It probably should be a little bit tighter than it was. But anyway, you'll take this spindle nut off. And with that off, you should be able to slide your hub off. There's going to possibly be a washer in there. And as you see, the hub just comes off, and here's the bearing. This one does not look too bad. However, like I showed you before, the other side, it just seized. Now, when you have this off, you can do it one of two ways. Because I was on the road and I ended up going to a shop that worked with trailers, they didn't have the right bearing by itself, so I ended up just buying the whole hub, and I ended up buying two because I wanted each side to be the same. So I've got just a whole brand new hub. If you didn't buy the hub and you just buy the bearings, what you would do is you would take a punch and you'd have to punch out the races that are in the hub. There's a race right here, and you'd take a center punch and just kind of hammer it out, and then go from this side and hammer out that side. Again, since I could only purchase the hub, I ended up buying two so they'd be the same. So now with that off, you're going to want to clean this off and just kind of inspect it for any damage. And I will clean it a little bit with some brake clean. Now this spindle is actually really good, but you want to just inspect the spindle, make sure it doesn't have any nicks in it or whatever. If it does, you can take a little bit of sandpaper and smooth it out. For the grease, I'm going to be using this Red and Tacky number 2. It's a Lucas Oil product. It was recommended by the shop that I got all this stuff from. I'm putting grease on this spindle, just it'll help putting the hub back on. I forgot to hit record at one point, so I'm filming this after the fact, but it's to show you a step that I had missed. That next step, when you have your hub off, whether you're reusing your hub or if you've got a new hub, you have to pack the bearings. Now there's a couple ways you can do it. You can just take grease and put it in your hand and just kind of mash the grease in there. I have a, I don't know what you'd call this tool, but it's a grease packer. What you do is you unscrew this, put your bearing in here, screw this back on, kind of push it down, and it forces the grease through. Once you have your bearings packed with grease, drop the bearing in there, and then I'll take the bearing cover, put a little bit of grease on that. I have a little block of wood, and I'm just going to try and tap it in there. The bearing cover is seated. I'll flip it over. Put a little more grease inside. And take the outside bearing and set it in there. I'll slide that back on. Now this comes with a new washer as well. I'll put that on. So that washer slid on. So this kit came with a little different style of a nut lock. We'll put this on, and then we'll take the nut and put that over it. Spin it on, and I will tighten this. I'll tighten it till this doesn't really move that easily. See that it doesn't move very easily. I'll tighten it. I'll loosen it. So I'll loosen it, spin it a little bit, and then tighten it again just to make sure I'm getting the bearing seated. I'll spin it, and as it spins, right now it's really kind of tough to spin, so I'll loosen it again. And then spin it, and then spin it and tighten it again. Again, this is just to seat the bearings. So now I've got the nut tightened on, and it's tight, and it kind of takes a little bit of force to move this. What I will do is I'm going to back this off, just loosen it enough till this spins freely. Now that I got it spinning freely, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend these tabs over to kind of lock this nut in place. Again, some trailers you're going to find a cotter pin. This one is a little different. It's got this little lock washer. After the tabs are bent over, I'm going to put a little bit more grease into the hub. I'm going to take my new cap, put a little grease on this new cap. Cap on, put the new grease fitting cover on. Lastly, put this next I'll put this grease fitting cover on. Finally, the wheel goes back out. And this hub came with new lug nuts. And there it is. Now there's no play. And there it is. That's how you replace the bearings on your travel trailer. Hey, hopefully this video helped. The Cozy Traveler is completed. I will be doing a walkthrough of that. Hopefully this video is helpful. If it was, hit that thumbs up. Please, 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 before you travel next time, make sure you check your hubs. I don't want you to end up like I was on the side of the road, smoke coming out of the hub. And it's not that hard of a fix. At a minimum, throw some grease in there. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.